You hammered the German working class with a war, a loss of the war, the worst inflation ever, and the worst depression in capitalism's history, all in a 12 or 13-year period. It was too much, and they went crazy. By 1914, Germany is a real successful powerhouse, an exploding economic success, people, middle-class people living extraordinarily prosperous lives, very confident, very proud, and quite rich, saving money, very frugal. They remembered the hard times before it was clearer for them. And so they think the world is their oyster. They have an empire. It's productive for them. It brings them wealth. And then they have an absolutely crushing experience. All of this is under an emperor. In German, the word is Kaiser. Kaiser Wilhelm was the one in power at the time. And he leads them into World War I. They're going to win that battle like they've been winning everything else. They lose. World War I, horrific, the most devastating, destroying factories, railroads, everything, killing immense numbers of people in trench warfare, terribly destructive. But most important and cataclysmic for them, they lose. And now, very quickly, a 1-2-3 punch. After the war, the Versailles Treaty, which ends World War I, imposes reparations on Germany. The winners are going to make the loser pay for the war. And so Germany is required to devote a huge portion of its resources not to build up Germany after the terrible war, but to pay back the French and the British. So the Germans are, after World War I, utterly impoverished. It's destroying what's left of Germany. The shock of the war, then the shock of losing the war, now the shock of being unable to recover. In 1923, 5 years later, Germany experiences the worst inflation in modern human history. In a matter of 8 months, the currency goes from 4 or 5 Deutschmark, that's the name of their currency, to $1, to 5 billion Deutschmark.
That's crazy.
Yeah. My parents lived through that. My mother told me stories in which her parents, she lived in Berlin, her father would run home from his job at noon, grab a sandwich prepared by my grandmother, my mother's mother, because he would give her a little bag full of banknotes of money and then run back to his job. She would run to the market to spend the money because if she waited till the evening, the money wouldn't be worth anything anymore. Well, now here comes the punchline. The Germans were frugal. For the previous 50 years of their spectacular growth and prosperity, they had saved up money. With the money saved by 2 generations over 50 years, they could now purchase a $1/4 pound of butter. They were wiped out. 5 years later, in 1929, the stock market crashed and we entered the Great Depression. It was too much and they went crazy. And the proof of it is they turned to a non-German, non-blue-eyed blonde, non-tall person from Austria and said, "You will save us." Adolf Hitler. When does he take power? January of 1933. He collects the catastrophe. In the last 2 elections of 1932, before he takes office, the country split right down the middle. Half went to the old German middle-of-the-road political parties, and the other half split between the Socialist Party and the Communist Party. Both sides denounced capitalism on the grounds it had brought war. It had been responsible for the reparation. That's why Hitler had to call his fascist party socialist. It's the National Socialist Party. He had to tap into anti-capitalism, otherwise he wouldn't have got to first base. Nazi, N-A-Z-I, that's the first four letters of the German word National, which simply means national. It's the National Socialist Party. So it's Nazi Party against the socialists and communists. And those were fights in the streets. They were fights at the ballot box. The business community realized the country's dissolving into two wings. We have to make a choice. And they went with Hitler. And they turned to Hindenburg, the president of Germany at the time, and told him, you have to invite Hitler to form a government. That's what they did. That's how it happened.